Images of extinction scenarios are key to generating power resistant, allow different representations to come together. Shots and 12 metaphor, always go on ahead and roll. Wouldn't get a need to coverage when the shows also use one. Each way as a jumping off point to talk about whether politics fight against people of tactics. It's not the same power, same image, doom, how we all interconnected. I'll just get a 2 roll turning means we default to preventing extinction. Boston will enroll certain sectors of readers certain about means there is great action value, observing ability, recognize value in certain future. We must prevent any existential capacity. 3. Humanity has a right to exist. Anything else excludes infinite future generations. 14. We should responsibly future generation should not identify as a region values not relevant to our tasty right of including future people who have previous generations ensure their survival should and critical theory who your normativity has current interest as it challenges to civilization caused by systemic imperatives or beyond and death ontologically destroys the stomach. It's a worst passion. And 3. That is the objectively evil for death ontologically destroys the stomach. The start of the time that we essentially are anything that interferes with the process of anything the person is that person existence. The role of the judge is to evaluate the effectiveness is supposed to be a policy in preventing extinction. Only non-ideal theory can guide action. Ideal theory doesn't work with the realities of realization of the ideal. So it's something from Mills 05. We start from the premise that one method guide action in modeling humans. We actually away from reality, critical comprehension of the actual guaranteeing that the ideal model will never be achieved. Part 2 is the plan. Plan text, the United States federal government should plan private ownership of handguns and force through mandatory recall of all handguns through the ATF National Database microchipping and banning sale and civilians for 12 to ban civilly owned most firearms all sealed. So taking info on the ATF form and put in national use, making private sale legal. ATF form record every firearm sold and those have to be surrendered to the ATF. Get the blockades and cross-references. Ban concealed carry microchipping, complete to crime being sold and complete ban solved. Gun trafficking use in 15 regulation on transaction. Even the legal transactions can be involved. Helping increase costly illegal market is associated determinable damage the supply of new firearms and ammunition, thereby making transactions more challenging, more most relied on ever. To obtain weaponry and cartel guns trafficking in Mexico. Comfortable use Scout 16. Data on firearms seized in Mexico, eating a majority of United States. ATF use and number of firearms seized and traced as an indicator 70% originated in the United States, and most of the firearms are handguns. Scout 16 shotguns. Shotguns were seized and traced. Data shows that substantial long guns traced in the last few years. They often seize handguns more than rifles, and these include a significant portion of cartel weaponry. A ban which saw targeting equally over 90% of guns seized from Mexican cartels having a high number of federally licensed firearm deals, more killings, or carried with handguns, and a ban would increase bilateral cooperation and strengthen enforcement collaboration. It's been gaining momentum recently. USCOT 16 U.S. and Mexican individuals collaborating on firearms trafficking over the past year. Collaborative activities have been bolstered and are gaining momentum. They highlight the ATF training on the use of e-trace in addition to renewing existing collaborative efforts. ATF has been collaborating on detection, identification, and seizure advantage. What is the economy? Mexico's economy is on the verge of FE315. Although the reading market is like a acceleration, e-commerce is when subject activity greater over the 2016 pace of the U.S. greater with software. Consumer confidence reported a noticeable drop in one interstate violence crushes Mexican economic growth. Shieldsman 14 war on drugs who has managed to disintegrate the economy. Some of the Marcy Americans have given excess of 1.3 billion USD and exuberant amount that continues to grow. Military lack transparency have deserted military pursuit a career with drug cartels. Economy is limited, danger and high cost bills and business operations hurt prosperity, financial disparity make their countries impoverished persons. Crime paid for drug cartels, prolonged warfare has driven desperate citizens continued violence and countless failures. Also 32 cartel lines risk U.S. military intervention in Mexico that destroys Mexican economy. Mass 14 Mexico's could spread into the partnership between narco traffickers and parachutes attempt to strike the U.S. Strike with greater chances of miscalculation. U.S. consider military action using the U.S. military against the action cartels to weaken the Mexican government and further segregate cooperation between Mexico and U.S. and bilateral economic relationships. 3 cartel lines to discharge small operators have critical shale gas expertise. That's key to Mexican manufacturing and economic recovery. 14 Mexico open oil industry to private and foreign investment of bringing new technology to the shale works of the country's economic and energy low electricity costs. Pillar of the nation's economy increasingly competitive. Less clear is whether the U.S. contractor would be willing to take their expertise in Mexico, like many of the well sites in this part of northern Mexico. Cartel specialize in kidnapping and extortion, while smaller operators that specialize in fracking or not. And Mexico's key to the global economy. O'Neill 14 Mexico's and out of the crossroads to continue down the path of growth to an ever more integrated global economy. What happens in Mexico matters to the rest of the world. And economic lecturers lash out of global war. Economic institutions go check. James 14 economic spotlight on the fragility of the world. Economic world systems given the extent of fragility, epochal financial crisis that almost had a complete global class. Economic declining power, financial institutions fear dangerous weapons of mass destruction. Mad left no doubt that any super conflict could inevitably escalate. Advantage to biotechnology. Terror cartels in Mexico working with external terrorists. Shortcuts existing checks and makes attack likely. Rosenthal 13 function with the spirit that Hezbollah function with cartels who want to present North America. They understand what illegal activity in America's respective powers. Whoever wishes and weaken the power of use of the U.S. Army. Hezbollah has trained bases and sleepers self-included in Mexico and South America, transport of illegal conventional biological weapons to the United States as a threat to U.S. national security. That risks extinction. Mere Walter King terrorists could develop such a process of human acid legalization lethal enough to exterminate human sapiens will be able to do anyone with a lot of solid background in biology, terrorists included. Under view, one tangible solution state solutions are key abstract and for details, and that's reworkable alternative reproduce the balance and seeds of political pride. So abstraction towards mediation with things about the academic life falls prey to abstractions good at preparing our get poor at proposing alternatives ignoring how numbers would be remade. None of us are proposing alternatives, and the state can be repurposed for good as even when it's grounded by purposes. Now the nature of the machine doesn't determine what it can be used for. For instance, I love if we are seeking not only to interpret the world but to change, there is much said to be focusing on politics, even if doing so puts reformist rather than revolutionary ideals. There is more at stake than a slightly better way for leaving suffering governmental reason maybe put to different uses social technology. Neither need not be any essential loyalty to political formations within they were less physical ways of opposing governmental problems can be combined to accomplish different social ends. It is not the machine that decides what will be used for. If we can go beyond and evil as specific governmental techniques can be repurposed.
You good?
Yep.
Which cartels are imposing the terror that is described in the Cartels Advantage?
There are two, like, what do you mean cartels advantage? Biotech.
That they seem to have the same internal link, which is cartels. So which cartels?
Can you clarify the question a little bit more?
The internal link to both the economy advantage and the bioterror advantage seems to be based on preventing terror imposed upon the Mexican population by cartels. Which cartels impose such terror? I just want to make it a little more elusive for me.
Like specific cartels?
Yes.
For example, we talk about the Los Zetas. They talk about how Hezbollah has been linked to different.
Sure. So the Zetas, but how much of their terror do you think is
specifically
caused
the U.S.
by? How much of their terror do you think is caused by?
Let me finish in terms of the cartel specification. It applies to most of the cartels. Most of the cartels get their guns from the U.S.
Okay. And do you think that the terror that these cartels are causing is caused by like pistols that
they
they get or like AK-47s?
The USCO evidence actually talks about how most of the firearms that they do use and what they've recently been demanding.
The USCO evidence only says that most of the guns
guns.
imported are handguns, not that most of the terror imposed is by handguns. Those seem to be distinct.
No, the evidence is that there is a higher demand right now for small guns because there are more.
Sure, so that's still not answering my question. The USCO evidence establishes that handguns are more demanded.
I think it does.
Wait, let me finish. And that more handguns are coming in. Why does that mean that most of the terror that is caused and the internal impacts is caused by those handguns?
Like I said, if the cartels want more small guns, their reason for that is that there are more. They can help them carry out smaller or more important, I guess, tasks.
Has Hezbollah ever transferred bioweapons to the Mexican border before?
The argument is that they have links with different cartels. That's the Rosenthal evidence. There is proof that they have links with them, which means that transporting them would not be that hard.
Okay. The case arguments. Can you explain to me the Mills evidence? It seems like it's like 2 sentences long.
The Mills evidence is just that a non-ideal theory is better than an ideal theory because ideal theories assume that we live in a world that is necessarily
what is an ideal theory?
Which ignores what?
What is an ideal theory?
Ideal theories would apply to any abstract ethic. For example, your normal libertarian entity, your contency, any of those. If they don't specify consequentialism, if they don't take care about
anything except for consequentialism is an ideal theory.
I would argue that something like util or like minimizing oppression would be a non-ideal theory.
Okay. Guide action. It's all this says is that the premise of ethics is to guide action. Why can't ethics
read the rest of the card? It says we abstract away from realities crucial to our comprehension of the actual workings of injustice, guaranteeing that the idealized model will never be achieved. The point is that the idealized model has been essentially been used by people who are usually like reading ethics, for example, Kant, and other types of normal.
Okay, I have one last question for the econ advantage. Why doesn't the mutual interdependency argument in James prevent war? Why isn't the cost of war too high?
Wait, sorry, what was the question?
Why isn't the interdependence argument in the James evidence mean that econ war?
His argument is that they impose financial power upon each other, so even if they are interdependent right now, it can usually go one or the other way. the order?
The order is two off, then case, and case starting on the framework stuff and then down.
Because states are legal fictions created for the scheme of social cooperation, obligations of states must derive from the people's condition, the state of nature, and the conditions that allow for the authority of the state. Free-government people have an innate right to independence. First, all moral obligations derive from reason. Since the necessarily authoritative base for action development, and six requirements which depend on external authority to be stable, because authority can be questioned, can ask why should I act or desire. Those demands a reason for acting, to ask why should I act for reason, to demand a reason for acting for reason, so that considers the authority of reason to be the starting point for all moral questions that no agent can escape. It's the possible question of the authority of reason without considering the authority of the second agent. The agency, the fundamental and present of all taking action where the agent submits to in order to reason for action. It's possible to reflect on whether it should exercise the agency that already having engaged in the activity of the agency that follows the agency that is capable and universal. Across all rational agencies, considered principal agencies, merely agency and any valid practical judgment of the truth of every political practical agent for every agent. Furthermore, intending toward any action, the agent must align herself with the pursuit of her end. If you can decide A, not A at the same time, since that is making a decision on the level of compatible and compatible, which means outer freedom is tracking any close up to being able to reach your freedom of those choices, which requires that you will consistently with your freedom as condition for being about that end at all. That's any maxim that subjects one person to someone else's choices internally contradict this place. Of course, the state is simulated a contradiction. However, freedom is only possible to agents only will not like system of reciprocal constraints. Also, people that are really fit in the pursuit of your expectation can't lose yourself in the state of nature. Or contradiction that would make the meaning of your action incompatible with the end. Thus, agents in any willing end are at all committed to having a willing system equal and outer freedom. Thus, the state, thus the standards consistent with a system of equal outer freedom that contend that opening up private ownership of handguns violates the independence of individuals. The mere ownership of handguns and the constant violation of the independence may alter the environment system, but not subject to your means to my own end. Ripstein's sovereignty will be violated by the intentional deeds of other things that is interested in the independence of the disease. All of those interests can be set back to the variety of things other than intentional beings that could have made my use or damage of your powers. It means to do which I pursue my own purposes to make me my own. That offense for me, individual sovereignty is absolute. Any access limitation on freedom, domination, existence of other systems of equal freedom. Ripstein, the sovereignty principle warrants protection of freedom through interference with the state. Personal is objectionable when set limits on the purposes that can pursue, accept, and protect against domination. Criminal prohibition that is protected sovereignty is a despotic violation. Your neighbor cannot decide which ends you have proceeding. Nothing the majority of your neighbors in special cases cannot act. They can't act to these days to prohibit you from doing something that isn't objectionable to means preventing you or someone else from doing this. Doing something that is the individual sovereignty is absolute. There's no risk of offense coming from the app. There's the terminal defense claim there. This includes if ownership is a violation, another than the ban itself is a violation. Ownership isn't necessarily the misuse, which means you can't preemptively ban it now. Next up is security critique. Security logic manifests in the drive security, which causes endless epistemology, ontology of violence. Birkin 7. Constant war based on assuming securities over a better or of modern reason. Also, certainty must derive on ideation, hegemony that lists between the boundaries of close symbological epistemology of violence, ontology of violence, each equation to of war and escalation. Military force reinforce an order where they enact and infirming which means merely instruments to use in certain foreign policy. Doctrine uses force to achieve desired and spoken not to claim national security or revolves the modern ontology and security national that makes no question national that anything that any prior to this war is seen as a natural phenomenon. Ontology war linking distance in a single chain whose process can be examined. This applies being war, autism, and ontological limits lead to problems need to critique political being dominant with securing that being. Then threat of bioweapons projects are worst anxieties on the other demarcates the line between us and them legitimizes violent U.S. policy. Lopskian for this. Nothing remarkable that might warrant specialization or policy. U.S. position to advise terrorists on something that discourse which is conducive to a narrow banding usage like quite protection to America to America from the foreign defense weak based upon which is threat discourse within constructed it renders an ambiguous danger against which U.S. policy is vindicated 50 years which demonstrated zero evidence of biological agents counter evidence of blood effect and discourse the muscle of what is saying inflated threat discourse no way required adherence to historical realities discourse reducing that anything the U.S. regarding new discourse the danger by terror face the bill by terror nothing less than new production of identity and economic threat efficiency their means of political ordering down the guys and if military representation all those in the form of economic economic order slaughtered, nucleus in 8, economic tranquility story, reshaping the order, looking intervention, police, and all the security policy, thereby within fusing global economic management for domestic policy, innovation, violence strategy, the fear of security, making the economy screened by imposition, neoliberal regulations, securities, and ensure slaughter, brand, vegetable history, economic security, the guides, but national security, uses adjusting intervention, and their fixation of national interest in apocalyptic scenarios, just by endless analysis, military, and nuclear, where the alternative negative intellectual criticism, the security, and representation of Ahmed, and 12 recommendations from economic issue about confronting the articles on the conventional questions around crises, fuel, projection efforts on the country's Western security discourse, the urban epistemological formation, interrogate systematic causes of acceleration, state policies, overlink systematic causes, problematizing symptoms, policy reforms, inadequate conventional questions, state lack capacity for epistemological questions, they normalize mathematics or discuss their concern of security that possibly guarantees the possible energy and economic justice, such as on them, need resources required to develop terms to inform effective policy making, and predictions impossible, the international cause of policy failure saw enforce models that lead to overwhelming global uncertainty, arising when it's impossible to predict how the policy environment will change, and Newtonian determinism is a prediction feature on the central line of present knowledge and future knowledge case reasons, the outcome general, or in the implications on possible knowledge, the initial conditions, the implication policies are artistically governed by uncertainty, complexity, and chaos. Now, the case proper. Start the top and Boston Revenue, the 3 reasons why this false versus complete the pre and post distinction, just because talking about distinction in the post vote does not make it less likely to reduce moral uncertainty in the world that we live in right now. Saying the process of debating solve moral uncertainty, first with moral uncertainty having gone through the past 7 decades, no reason to go away now. There's a debating solve the SJDI side, the solution to moral uncertainty in this debate around forces that this is that maximizing morality in the future is the best option, which obviously assumes consequentials and security evidence assumes ends matter, but autonomy concludes as per the NC. The Schatz evidence, simulation to scenario planning, legitimize global war crime, and 11 simulation, project honor range has electronic imagery, so there's academic industries after surrender politics, aesthetics, women in war, war and violence, and performance scenario planning, modeling, constructing military collective impossible and permanent war, makes war possible, the sanitization of violence. Also, the only case that links to the scenario planning is the argument if they win framework now. A red life also outweighs the case because there's no point living anymore if you don't have any value in life now. The underview. The Bryant evidence. No, you need completely arguments seated in conservative ideology. That is the one alternative evidence. We only tell arguments, so I wanted to figure out to engage in the political sphere. I'll learn Oval in 6 minutes, increasing accurate information of the immediate indicative response metrics of automatic. By rhetorical terms, that example is language survival study statements about national security with little no facts. Well, on the wayside, probably triple change plugs your set to support the enemy government. First, describe a impeachment modern and share threats. The contradicting jargon and statements such as a multiple intent to maintain an atmosphere of fear for those who risk. They are not meant hostility and accusation for irrationality that undermines policy sanctity are bypassed. Now, the Ferguson evidence. One, the other side say the state is never, which is obviously not true. The only portion of the validity of the state in the first place and the state's actions are good. Second is that the people that replace it will smooth crime. Even the state is made up of the people of policies that thrive. Those policies that people will never be good. Third is the focus right now. Focus on the symptoms and state policies, but we can never focus on the root cause arguments, which are coming out of the NC now. The econ advantage. Econ is only empirics. Zakaria 9. Legal punishment systems troubling those reach to the economic justice, violence, restrictions, the economic law cannot really neutralize governments. State support, safety, safety nets, Christians to pay. The result of populism is very common economic support. The revenue crash in 1987, 92, 97, 98, and the tech collapse of our global economic system is resilient. The one, the James evidence supports is the biochair advantage, no extinction, O'Neill and 4 upward, present physical science examine, evidence related to biological weapons. You find the such ones that are caused mass structuration, less structure the connection, stop speculating. We see that our fears are misplaced. The opposite, so we call them weapons of minimum destruction. Terrorist use of biological weapons is rare and not effective. With 4 attempts have been recorded. The most effective at Tamil tigers killing none. Also, the substitute for Horizon trucking, concealing the cost under issues, 1986. Offenders is blocked from getting handguns, not really likely to regard. Failed rifle trucking facility is not important to most crimes. Auto weapons are rifles, red exceptions, with sealability. Rifles are no more expensive. 10 times more deadly, collecting 2. Long exceptions for undesirable, 10 times more deadly handguns. Unlike criminals, would offer less deadly in increasing criminal homicide. I guess just cut it less deadly. The second cut evidence, cut it less deadly.
Yeah, this is the second one. I'm not sure what it was. Status of the alternative.
We will defend it conditionally. There's no. Yeah.
Awesome. So let's go through the predictions. First, the predictions fail argument. Why does this? Like this argument just says that scenario planning gets complex. Why can't we just account for those with different policies?
I think it's a little bit different than just scenario planning gets complex. Because scenario planning cannot possibly account. Scenario planning assumes linear analysis, whereas in reality it is far more uncertain than that. In the sense that it is functionally impossible to predict like massive changes that can happen at any time.
Why not? Like we've been doing it well for the past like a good amount of time. I'm not sure why policy analysis is like. Or why it's impossible to.
So the reason is because when we follow these like intricate link chains in the plan, small change, like minute changes in the original circumstance and the original scenario can make major amplifications, which is sort of the
that's
idea
fine.
behind chaos
Let's go
theory
through-
and the
that's fine.
confidence.
That's fine. Separate question. First, the responses to the Bostrom evidence. The first one was just post fiat, pre fiat. What was the second one?
Okay, the second one was.
Do you have a second one?
Yeah, the second one. Oh, there's 4 arguments, not 3. The second one was uncertainty has been along for like 7,000 years. Everything we can solve it now.
Did you respond to the Mills argument?
The Mills argument? I don't think there's an explicit response, but
Why isn't
the reason it doesn't apply is because there's no impact in the 1AC. Like normally, it would impact the
Hold
compression style.
What do you mean? What do you mean there is no impact in the 1AC? A non-ideal theory is just anything that deals with material consequences.
Sure, there's no
You can-
impact to being a non-ideal theory in the 1AC. This would normally impact
That makes
things like
zero
compression
sense.
style.
I feel like this has complete interaction with the 1NC. The 1NC was an example of a libertarian NC. It is abstraction, right?
Sure, but this is tantamount to reading like a link to bioterror and then not reading.
That made zero sense. Okay. Anyways, let's go to the C, the political arguments. First, you say the state has been, like, it's not unique, the state has been ceded. What's the word for this argument?
The argument is the argument of the Ahmed evidence, which is the state has already been filled with like conservative politics and policymakers.
How does the alternative resolve that?
The alternative engages in epistemological questioning.
Wait, so epistemological questioning in this round will replace conservative ideology?
I don't think it's this round specifically. It's rather a little bit more of a broad claim.
Wait, so where do you get
We
the
think that
spillover claim from? Why this round affects
Spillover
other rounds?
claim? I don't think that the negative needs that. It just needs to win that engaging in the
Okay,
involved is good.
Final question: is the world of the plan possible, or is the world of the app possible in the world of the alternative?
I mean,
Is the plan possible in the world of the
is
alternative?
the plan possible? What is that alternative? Not the exact plan.
So you won't go for the floating pig?
No floating. Okay, would you like to be unconditional?
You said it was conditional. No choice.
I'm asking you now. I'll make it unconditional if you want it. I really just don't want to agree with it. So on condo,
And
would you prefer condo?
that shifted my process strategy actually.
Alright, fine.
What's the reason bioterror won't happen?
So there's the 1NC K evidence says that the 1NC K evidence says that there are a bunch of different scenarios where it happened in the past and there was no impact. The 1NC O'Neill evidence cites.
You read. Wait, what is the O'Neill evidence?
The O'Neill evidence says that it's far less destructural than it's painted to be by the.
Really read substitution. Right.
Yeah.
25 seconds. Order will be the case. Quickly on the NC. Security. Or theory ready to begin.
You repeat the order.
Theory. The case, and then the NC very quickly. Then the critique. Let me send you that. I'm not sure if I'll get through most of the stuff, but has everything on top.
Alright. And 2 is done.
Interpretational negative essays about the unconditional be the valley C0 one strat you go in the 1 year I don't know whether or not they pick the account line that puts me to double my other under the account line and or other for the alternative and they'll go for it or I overcover it and they'll simply kick it, which means that I can only spend 2 minutes on the K and the 1 year they can collapse to either for 6 minutes and the 6 minute 2 are also second strats with key different church motivators can for coherent strategies to its axis skills we force debater to defend a better to defend a more concrete alternative instead of defending for strategic purposes these skills key to education before key to education it ensures that we can be able to debate about specific concepts. D-verse 1 for its basic activity, 2 education only, portal impact 3, drop into B3 for instance, again, we show up regards to sets of B norms, lots of FUWC times Q dot here means that K position for a plot center for lots of 4 is reasonably for value convenient relations because A reasonably not for by judge intervention B draw the B deterrence of interest will considerably when off the we also see reasonably collapsing convenient relations we have often seen in space that's now the 1AC first the Schatz evidence they use as gram evidence but this doesn't assume the intricacy of the 1AC of the 1AC planning is scenario planning, which means that they have to use specifics instead of indicting. Also, the Schatz evidence also takes out a Greek, which says that securitizing allows different representations to come together, which means that you evaluate the framework of the 1AC. Now, the Mills evidence is 100% conceded. It literally proves that abstraction and things like the ideal theories, like for example, the 1AC don't involve material realities, which means that they can never account for necessary problems. Now, the case for the plants, all strapping micro-7 tracks, all bullets that are shot. The story of the case was conceded, but the substitution did that 1 R use count when he go to the evidence is amazing. Preferred because it's legitimacy and recency. It says that the amount of assault weapons that they will want is less and more quickly accessible. Handguns also 2 is long guns come from declining soft guns. No unique statistics that the use count 16 like firearms typically by GTOs. This type of equipment is known to be authorized and trying to invest from left over to central American military stockpiles past conflicts. Now the impact defense versus the economy advantage. They make this. They say the economy is resilient, but the economy evidence assumes that there are only small shocks. All the empirical arguments that they make are assume small shocks, but the we read 3 interlinked arguments for why the economy will decrease, which means that it will decrease by a ton. So your Zakaria evidence is assumed the massive decline that our James evidence says. Now the bioterror advantage. The first argument that they make is that particularly Nirmal says that agents can be used can be repurposed super badly, which means that there is a risk that it can be used really badly. Now the O'Neill evidence says that the impact of bioterror agents are not good enough, but this is assumed current agents. Verbal literally makes a claim about how current agents can be devastating for the population. Now we'll go for the Bryan argument. The first argument that they make is that it's political has already been ceded. This argument is underwarranted. They say that we already have been in a conservative ideology. That no reason for why we can't change the state. The next argument that they make is a sequencing argument. If we prove that we have the right mindset in the status quo, that means that it has to be coupled reform, which is also a reason why you should reject. Perhaps focus now the critique. Couple of cross-applications for the case one, even if security discourse or risk calculations are flawed, engaging in it leads to discourse that regards social welfare, pragmatic discussion over the responses to threats, promoting democratic civil culture. That's the 1AC of Shatz. And this also two, the case is a huge link. All their evidence cites by hard intervention in the name of securitization bad, but the 1AC puts a blame on ourselves by handing to the UN cartel sucks and kill a ton of people. Also now, the 1AC impacts prove that their threats are real. Our authors would get $5,000 now national security rules, objective treatment of threats, power, and capabilities, behavior tends to be formalized, transparent peer review. Most accurate intelligent people are fired for presenting student analysis. The ACE bonus proof the case outweighs because threats are real extinction, impact just by oppression, and infinite amount of future exclusion of future groups, and also to exclusive of reps focus bad journal. 06 educators need to be clear about representation, while to recognizing power cannot be limited in study of discourses. Reform cannot take place without changing consciousness, recognizing the possibility for that makes it more to the future possible, and also the alternative fails risky policy making not dancing 11 it is natural to build national security in the same way people are uncomfortable with dirty or intent by higher prediction. These inherent psychological and practical realities will consistently lead more production. People are to drive beyond their ingredients. Also permutation to the act and all their instances of the alternative or the doubleline or either the ultra strong themselves, in which case the 1C link doesn't matter because there's so many other instances of the alternative or the 1C links or the alt can't solve and the permutation solves best. Now the last few predictions argument the predictions argument, this also doesn't assume the intricacy of the 1AC. It's also empirically not policies have, and we can't account for all the predictions, otherwise we would already all be dead.
The right pilot. Isn't the right pilot?
No, also it's kind of good stuff.
Second one is.
What's the order?
Order is theory and then the.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, what's the order? What's the order?
Order is theory then K.
Counter interpretation, the negative may read one conditional critique, results of our offense, one conditional security critique, solve our offense, you should be prepared to make the security critique and education and that benefits our interpretation because it's less likely to read arguments like security if they're conditional because they conflict with a lot of arguments. For example, the NC sort of decided, etc., which means the arguments on the NC which I'm going to read from framework are net benefits our interpretation. There are additional net benefits, one particularly the FNF and a preference for the round length of the hypothesis case have only 4 minutes to adapt to so as long as you space negative option the one C to make up to structural skew even if you have a possible strategy that's fine but if you don't have arguments to make then it's useless. Second is ground. We need to see a counter like case specifically on the topic. Just had suckle, ski friends, other content, extraction, given limited number of positions, key to education, loose people, such as theory, net possibility, and non possibility, keep checking, gives you advantage in terms of the first and last week, and set around for the insurance, next conditions, key to fairness, and checking act bias, also outweighs because the 1330 concept means no act time bias arguments using the affirmative and speak last and give a super persistence or we can check the back answer. Also, the affirmative sets a terms of this, we need to have issue selection for the argument innovation. These are risk low barriers to argument entry by conduct, encourages more unity, argument speed, argument generation, argument innovation, are always argument quality, and running the source of perception, and list to using single arguments, 5 is ideological polarization, shooting, conditional option, the one is still the option, since you have multiple perspectives, that's key to growth, entering, playing stuff from right and left, and be running the image from turning style, also ideological flexibility, linchpin, dominant deliberation, introducing disjunction is version, not vice, Hansen, and Marcus, positions to engage deliberation, they must reach conflict with the operating, thinking with subset of regular relation, or certain amount of ideological flexibility necessary to compromise occurs either disjunction or valence are transformative to result in a absorbing the information, seeing higher values for less capable of relaxing attention than even creating new identities out of their experiences doing what capacity for intellectualization and environment discussion that is a sense of different communication disjunction among American citizens help sign, which is also a reason why breath must come before death, which I know they both went into error. Additionally, now the interpretation proper, the strategy argument, one is only going to be 7 minutes arguments, and the one is used as most arguments, and more of the app will apply, for example, framework, and the appearance apply to this, whereas 5 minutes would be substantive terms, 10 minutes you would have been able to apply less of the affirmatives, often for a second it just get faster, technical, or better debate. I don't have to compensate for this. Or third said this is a security critique. If you don't have an answer to this, then that's your fault now. The fourth is that it is unquantifiable. How much strategy is key enough for the vote on 5 to 6 that you could have just collapsed the reps first and gone all in on the critique on the NC. No reason why just because you made a bad strategic choice I have to lose for it. Now the identity still argument one. This is absolutely false with one condo. I should still read the best argument available to me because otherwise, if it is a bad argument, then I should lose the round. Second is that breadth of good arguments outweighs breadth of multiple arguments outweighs that is the information testing argument. We've got a lot of forces to consider multiple perspectives. Third is that breadth in general outweighs depth. The eighth one is that there's not much time to discuss the depth fully. We just try to learn about as much as possible. The thing is that we're not don't have enough like a PhD in philosophy or direct theory, which means we just try to learn about as many things as possible because we don't have enough knowledge as high schoolers now. The critique. Also, last thing on theories that you should evaluate the strength of link. Every single impact links to everything, for example. And at some level, which we teach, you should evaluate strength of link because it determines how the impact will limit fairness or education first and collapse in the 2 AR. Now, the critique. The overview of the critique is that the affirmative create the strategy through which the governments can create enemies and then create enemies in order to destroy them. The only way the government remains popular is by creating more enemies to appease the public, etc. And the only way the argument that he's going to go for in the 2 areas that I am too general. However, he's considered very specific index of all of his evidence. The Lobsky evidence index, the logic of bioterror weapons says that it cites empirics in the past where bioterror attacks happened, but they never caused any real damage. But the affirmative still chooses to securitize them because it is beneficial for the government in order to securitize them. It is a discursive method of destroying their enemies. It creates new terror threats in the first place, which turns your arguments you conceded to the highest level in the low C. The nucleus arguments is even better, coupled with the impact defense on case it cites multiple times in the past when economic shocks happened, but there was obvious resilience. The only argument the 1 year goes for why econ is a real threat is because it's a really big shock from the affirmative. We cite the 97, 98, 90 economic declines, which are obviously much larger than something to the Mexican government that can be isolated by. It's also no reason why the affirmative shock is uniquely key. Obviously prefer empirics to the negative as opposed to the analytic speculation from the affirmative. Second is you conceded that value of life outweighs all of your impact. That is one case there's no point in preserving life. There's no value of life in the first place, which means your death impacts have no value. Now the Ravenel Cardo, even if we win this argument that threats are real in the specific case of the affirmative, so they are not real. That is the Lobsky and nucleus evidence. It's just depends why government to authorize. The second is that there's an epistemology that's considered from the 1 and C, for example. For your IR theories, it's probably better to have a war or something so you can write a couple more articles to make a little bit more money. Our argument is that the critique turns both the impacts in the case. The point is that securitization makes cooperation impossible. The hegemon always latching out. Makes cooperation impossible to the hegemon. Always turns the economy because the hegemon is always latching out. They can never focus on domestic politics, which means that it will go to shit. For example, the economy will fail because they're focusing on other things. The point is that cartels were created in the first place because of neoliberal intervention. At first, it was just drugs that they were just smuggling, but it moved on to become more broad. The affirmative in George Bush war on drugs was what created these sort of cartels in the first place. Now, also the reps argument just between intellectual value and the methodological one and see within the foundation of the effort, substitution win, irrespective of hypothetical and macronormal alternatives. It investigates the methodology, can organize the securitized logic, solves policy analysis, and the sort of scenario planning argument from the affirmative stack code based instead of a hyperbolic impact of the strategic cost of introducing the argument. So raising as well as people, it is accountable for the methodological grounding the argument through higher quality debates. You've conceded the Elmer and Opal evidence read on case against the Ferguson evidence. There's no value in engaging the politics for learning anything about politics before engaging in the politics alternative in the first place. The argument because if we don't analyze our words in the political sphere, then we can never understand the political sphere in an in-depth enough level and in an uncorrupt way in order to engage in it properly, which was that the affirmative cannot weigh the case, only the representational impacts matter. So the last argument is the permutation of that's how I like the permutation now. The reference are obviously decides the permutation. Also, if the alternative self case and controls the root cause, and there's no reason why the affirmative should go away the case. Now the dancing evidence is that political risk is impossible. Obviously, this might be true, but there's no reason that could be still alternative was a representational shift in logic. Last thing that we go for is the Schatz evidence. This obviously doesn't apply because you have to win the policymaking matters in order for all the serial policy arguments to matter. Second is that you can see that serial policy, like scenario planning, is bad because it causes it to securitize. Will be case critique.
One case are you starting?
Schatz. Is everyone good? Okay.
The Schatz evidence was poorly responded to. They said that it's an instance of securitizing. That misses the point. The argument is that even if it is an instance of securitization, it's still good because claiming that some certain threats are there, even if we don't win that, our impacts are necessarily real. It's an independent voting issue, which disproves that security because it allows different people of because apocalyptic rhetoric allows people of different representations to come together and solve different problems, which means that it's an external impact to any of the arguments that I'm making. Now let's go to the now we will do impact comparison on the critique itself. So for specifically on the first argument that they conceded is that they conceded our number 2 argument, which was made in the overview against critique, that the case is a huge link turn to all of the critique because all their evidence cites by hard intervention in the name of synchronization is bad. That 1AC puts blame on ourselves, and it says that by banning handguns in the U.S., the cartels suck, and a ton of people are already dying, and we put the blame on the U.S. and we limit what the U.S. can end up doing. This is a conceded argument from the 1ER. Now we will go for the impact arguments. The first the economy argument crossed by the James evidence from the 1SC, which talks about it. They have conceded the entire internal link story from the 1SC, which literally proves that there's going to be a massive shock. There are 3 separate internal links in the 1SC, which literally prove our impact. Now, their argument is that in 97, 98 were also much larger shocks, but our argument is that they were not instances of massive collapse. As long as you continue the internal link story, that means that the 1SC is definitely an instance of massive collapse. Now, the next argument that I make is this biotech argument about how agents have never done enough bad. But the 1SC evidence about they concede the 1-year analysis, which says the 1SC Rosenthal evidence talks about how the agents will be repurposed and they're getting worse right now, which means that they will obviously be used for bad purposes. We are definitely winning the impact debate, even if you don't buy the go. Now we will go for the couple of the overview arguments that they make. They said that we don't get away the case against the UNC because you should evaluate representations only. Their argument against the Giroux evidence is that there's they concede the Giroux evidence, which said that reps focus is necessarily bad if you don't couple it with reform, which simply strengthens the permutation, which means that because that shows that the alternative can never solve anything. Now the Danzig evidence, their argument is that there's no reason because the alternative is a question of epistemological orientation. Our argument is that risk-based policymaking is going to be inevitable no matter what you end up doing, which means that the alternative can never solve, even if it is an epistemological orientation. Doing it something this round does not solve anything in the future, which means that your epistemological orientation arguments simply don't matter. And if anything, the case definitely outweighs the critique because they make this argument about how value to life outweighs all of your interests. If it's not in the 1NC, if anything you should allow it, you should grant us new 200 responses. Our argument is that extinction definitely outweighs and also definitely applies here. It shows that the 1NC was an abstraction, which means that it does not care about specific material realities for different people, which means that you cannot use these arguments. They make these arguments about how the critique turns the case, but they talk about it. But if we win that the threats are real necessarily, that means that the hegemon will not end up lashing out necessarily because the 1NC solves that instance of economy. Now the permutation, their argument against this is horrible. They make these arguments about how the alternative definitely solves the case no matter what. But our argument is that permutation is what can truly solve these instances of securitization. But they're necessarily bad because you need to couple reform with mindset orientation if you want to go through any of this. The sequencing arguments presume that we don't have the right mindset already.